this song is for you. You can't wear it on your chest, but you can feel it in your heart. And I hope it brings you comfort when this world grows dark. Let it echo through the madness, let the message pull you through. This is our Medal of Honor to you.
And now, Armed Forces Weekly with Donna Layons on TSPN.
Welcome to Armed Forces Weekly. I am Donna Lyons. As you know, less than a week away is Memorial Day. It's a day of remembrance for those who have died in service to the nation. Death is not an easy subject, nor one we want to talk about, but it's real, and it happens. On the upcoming National Day of Remembrance, services are held around the globe honoring those patriots who have fought and died in preserving our nation's freedoms and helping our allies prevent tyranny. One of our most sacred and hallowed grounds for these patriots is Arlington National Cemetery in Washington, D.C. It is the final resting place for over 330,000 of America's finest men and women. It is also the home of the Tomb of the Unknowns, where the Old Guard provides a constant 24/7 vigil guarding the tomb with a sentry of the highest caliber. It is considered a true honor to be able to pay your respects on Memorial Day at Arlington National Cemetery. Another beautiful yet solemn and sobering place is the Vietnam Wall Memorial. From September 26, 1959 to April 30th, 1975, a military conflict occurred in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. This war paid the cost, huge cost, with huge consequences, being that of human lives. When many vets returned to America, they were treated with contempt, and some spat on. Americans had been polluted in their views over the war by the media, and some felt it was unnecessary war, making emotions run high, causing people to become disillusioned. Unfortunately, the returning veterans took the impact and were not treated with the respect they so deserved. The dreadfulness and pain of that war was forever carved in their souls. The Vietnam War Memorial became the first part of a great healing process for all Americans, especially the Vietnam veterans who only asked that we respect that they were told to do and the fact that they didn't have a choice. The absolute simplicity of the Vietnam War Memorial contrasts so dramatically with the complexity of emotions it evokes. This memorial is neither politicizing nor glorifying the Vietnam War. It simply pays honor to the many brave Americans who served their country in a dismal place halfway around the world. In the walls, words are inscribed, "Freedom isn't free. You will never be forgotten." You may be reading those words this Memorial Day as a visiting family member or friend is placing pictures, flowers, trinkets, or notes along the wall. George Jones sang a song, 50,000 Names on the Wall. Some of those lyrics read, "There's teddy bears and high school rings and old photographs that mamas bring of their daddies with their young boys playing ball. There's combat boots he used to wear when he was sent over there. There's 50,000 names carved in the wall." And in the distance from the Vietnam Wall, you can see the World War II Memorial across the reflecting pond. The National World War II Memorial is dedicated to the Americans who served in the armed forces and as civilians during World War II. Consisting of 56 pillars and a pair of small triumphal arches surrounding a plaza and a fountain, it is located right on the mall. There are many days you will see a group of World War II veterans in wheelchairs. There are many organizations that take them, one called Honor Flights. I have personally been there and witnessed many events at the memorials. The veterans proudly paraded in one by one, many in wheelchairs, all sporting a pin, hat, or patch significant to their branch of service and units. It's an emotional experience when you see their faces, knowing their background and trying to understand their plight from years ago. I watched and observed true patriotism as visiting Nashville country singer Lucas Hogue helped an ailing World War II veteran in a wheelchair stand. He refused to stay seated while the colors were presented and taps was played. Lucas held the man up as he leaned on his arm and proudly paid military honors. Lucas has been a huge supporter of our troops traveling to the Middle East during war to bring entertainment to our troops. He continues to devote his time to those currently serving and our veterans. His song, Medal of Honor, speaks volumes and has become a huge success in honoring those who serve this great nation. We are honored to have the privilege of playing Medal of Honor here on Armed Forces Weekly on our show. The Freedom Wall is on the west side of the World War II Memorial, with a view of the reflecting pool and Lincoln Memorial behind it. The wall has 4,048 gold stars, each representing 100 Americans who died in the war. In front of the wall lies a message: here we mark the price of freedom. And today, if you do go to Arlington National Cemetery, you will see it is also a resting place for approximately 10% of the more than 3,500 soldiers who lost their lives in Iraq and Afghanistan. Section 60 is where the soldiers from Iraq and Afghanistan are laid to rest. It's an active area filled with photos, letters, and personal mementos, but not seen by most of the million of tourists that visit. A woman named Gina lost her son Eric in Iraq and visits his grave in Section 60 every week, writing him letters. One letter said, "There is peacefulness about this place. It is quiet, beautiful, and special. I'm so proud that you are buried here at Arlington. I want the world to know that you are a hero. People need to know the real cost of war, the real cost of freedom, the real sacrifice of our men and women that they make. They need to know the sacrifice of the people left behind." Over the graves, the families meet and console one another. There is an immediate understanding among them. Sometimes they talk, sometimes they hug, and sometimes they just give each other the space to mourn. Section 60 has become a gathering place for those who have lost loved ones, encouraging them to bond and develop support networks. It is a type of support needed by each and every family who has lost a loved one to war. When a service member is lost, the pain and suffering can be overwhelming for the families. And though it often may not feel that way, they are not alone. Although each story is unique, there are common experiences and feelings that connect the wives and other family members of the fallen as they learn to cope with their loss and to be a source of strength for themselves and others. There are organizations that can help through peer support, grief counseling, referrals, youth programs, and many other caring resources. The Tragedy Assistance Program for Survivors, called TAPS, T-A-P-S, is the 24/7 tragedy assistance resource for anyone who has suffered the loss of a military loved one, regardless of the relationship to the deceased or the circumstance of the death. Founded out of tragedy in 1994, TAPS has established itself as the frontline resource to the families and loved ones of our military men and women. TAPS provides comfort and care through comprehension services and programs including peer-based emotional support, casework assistance, connections to the community-based care, and grief and trauma resources. TAPS has assisted over 40,000 surviving family members, casualty officers, and caregivers. You can find them at taps.org. The American Gold Star Mothers are mothers of fallen service members. They began calling themselves Gold Star Mothers during the First World War, but the sorrowful bond they reach back to every woman who has lost a son or daughter in uniform since our nation's revolution. The Army cherishes the mothers of its soldiers as bedrocks of support and comfort and honors the mothers of its fallen as resilient legacies of their children's service. You can find them at goldstarmoms.com. The Gold Star Wives is an organization of widows and widowers whose spouses died while on active duty in military service as a result of military service-connected cause. The organization began in 1945 by the war widows of World War II. It is a congressional-chartered nonprofit organization incorporated in the state of New York. Eleanor Roosevelt signed the original Gold Star Wives Incorporation Papers. Their mission is to provide service support, friendship to the widows and the widowers of military personnel who died on active duty or as the result of a service-connected cause. You can find them at goldstarwives.org. And the Hospice Foundation has a grief center with information on dealing with grief of losing a loved one. For children, American Hospice Foundation, they have a booklet that you can download, a PDF, on their website. And you can find that at americanhospice.org. And if you are looking for something locally to do here, an annual veteran run in Folsom. The run was created by a young woman named Courtney Keys Hostel, whose brother was wounded in Afghanistan. Courtney was looking for an avenue to help facilitate other wounded warriors along with her brother. She is a personal trainer and wanted to capitalize on her strengths to bring strength to others in the recovery and healing process. Witnessing the spirit and never quit attitude of the hundreds of wounded warriors at Walter Reed and observing the advances in medical technology, Courtney was personally inspired to start a 5K run fundraising event to further assist wounded warriors. This annual event keeps growing bigger and better because it is worth it and near and dear to her heart. Her brother Adam's recovery and that of his brothers in arms is so very important to her. I am happy to say that Courtney is a guest on our show today. This Memorial Day, let us pause to remember that freedom is not free, and it comes with a heavy price, the blood and treasure of our country. Through the ultimate sacrifice of many brave men and women throughout our amazing history, we are and continue to be the best nation in the world. God bless all those who have served, continue to serve, and those stepping up to serve. This Monday, we thank all soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guards, civilians, and other families that serve our great nation. We are the home of the free because of the brave. Never forget. We are going to go to a commercial break, and when we come back, my darling friend Brittany will be here, or Courtney, I'm sorry, will be here to tell her story. We'll be right back.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.